For years, we've been working with Pocket Wizard for wireless flash triggering. We have their Mini and their Flex for wireless TTL, and their pricey Multi-Max for the large shoots with multiple strobes and for triggering cameras plus flashes remotely at the same time. And we have a few of the entry-level Plus 2s around here as well. They all work fine. And here comes Pocket Wizard with a brand new Plus 3 that is their low-cost trigger that has some interesting features on them. But my Pocket Wizards work just fine. Why would I want to bother buying a Plus 3? And what kind of photographer will be happy with a Plus 3 if they do buy it? And which photographers will be disappointed with this bargain-priced Pocket Wizard? Let's test them out and see with this product's vital signs. I'm Will Crockett. I'm a pro photographer, owner and chief tech advisor of a few large photo websites. I've worked as a consultant to some huge companies in the photo industry, and I even get to report my latest photo fun facts to the great men and women who work in the Pentagon. And now I'm learning the next generation of cameras in my migration to mirrorless. The Pocket Wizard Plus 3 is a new low-cost way to buy into the legendary reliability of Pocket Wizard for triggering your flash or your camera remotely. The Plus 3 is not for wireless TTL flash. It's only for firing flashes that work in manual or auto mode, not TTL mode. It does have a new function on it called auto sensing that flips it from being a transmitter into being a receiver without doing anything. Just connect it up and go. It appears here on the control panel as the TX-RX mode, and it works perfectly. It has 32 channels that work backwards with channels 1 through 4 found on older Pocket Wizards, which is really cool. Channel 1 on a Pocket Wizard Plus 3 is the same channel 1 on a Pocket Wizard Multi-Max. But Pocket Wizard speaks its own private language and don't work with any other brands of flash triggers. So channel 1 on our radio popper, for instance, has no connection to channel 1 on any Pocket Wizard. In the box of the Plus 3 are two cables that will allow you to use common flashes like the Canon 580EX version 2 flash that I'm fond of. That means that I can trigger this Canon flash in manual mode or auto exposure mode with my Sony camera or Nikon camera or Olympus camera, any camera that has a hot shoe. Also, the quad zone triggering function that's been brought down to the Plus 3 from the upper end Multi-Max system is found on channels 17 and higher, and it allows you to use multiple strobes all on one shot. Say you may want to fire or may not want to fire one particular strobe on a shot, it's easier to turn those on and off right from the camera using those zones. Now, I've been shooting this way for years, and this advanced feature on this bargain Plus 3 works really well. Other features like the long range mode and the new camera triggering feature are available on this low-cost Pocket Wizard, but how well do they work? Let's start by testing the range of the Plus 3. As readers of ShootSmarter.com know, I've personally tested or owned a wide variety of wireless triggers, from Quantum FreeXWire to Radio Popper to Elinchrom Skyport and, of course, Pocket Wizard. Each really has its own place, and they're all good products. Now, those low-cost import eBay kind of triggering solutions we have used, but they don't work. Now, Pocket Wizard is known for long-range triggering, and this Pocket Wizard Plus 3 claims a range of 1,600 feet. Now, you're probably never going to need to place a flash 2 city blocks away, but if you do, will the Plus 3 really trigger that far? Well, kind of. In its standard default mode on channel 1, the Plus 3 craps out at about 700 feet. That's just under 1 city block. Now, that's fine, right? But the older Pocket Wizard Plus 2s actually will go up to 1,200 feet before they start to become irregular in their triggering pattern. Now, if you put a Plus 3 into its LR or long range mode, whoop, it jumps up to 1,500 feet worth of triggering, no problem. Now it does depend on how it's positioned, on how well the long range works. For instance, if you have your camera pointing back behind you and your flash with the receiver is up here, it's not going to work very well at very long distances. In your studio and stuff, it'll be fine. But the downside of using the LR mode is that it's only available on channel 17 and higher. That means it's not going to work on your older Pocket Wizards that only go to channel 4. But if we base the Pocket Wizard Plus 3 on its own performance, I gotta give it a 7.2 on a 10 scale. Now what about ease of use? Outside in the country or inside most photo studios, there's not a lot of interference that would cause a wireless flash trigger to not work. But I shoot a lot in the city and in large factories where there's interference everywhere. One spot in particular gives us fits, and that's Lower Michigan Avenue in the heart of Chicago. It's right by the Chicago Tribune newspaper, WGN radio, and 2 television stations. We've had wireless trigger systems fail there for the last 20 years. So let's set up a shot there with a couple of flashes, and I'll use one of my favorite mirrorless cameras, and we'll spread those lights kind of far apart in a really tough environment, see if we can get those Pocket Wizards to fail. Lighting on this shot is going to be 2 T5DRs from Quantum, connected to a Pocket Wizard Plus 3 on channel 21, and they're powered by Quantum turbo batteries. They're both on stands, but you'll see one, of course, is our front light, our main light. You see it there on the left. You also see my shooting position. Camera-wise, that is a Sony Nex 7, ISO 1600, with an 18 to 200 millimeter lens on it. On top of that, you got it, Pocket Wizard Plus 3, also set to channel 21. This front light gives us really nice light on our subject, right? See, that light is nice and high, so it's pointing down, making Jesse look tough. Now back on the car, we've got a second light off to the left that points back towards the car. Kind of helps us simulate the daylight that should be coming back from those windows, but it's not. Way in the back was the second one, which was about 150 feet away. This one in front here was maybe only about 20 feet away from where I was shooting. And we had zero, that's 0 triggering failures. Every one of the 268 shots I fired had both lights trigger. That tells me it works like a champ. I like the Plus 3. I like this sideways design because I never hit the buttons by mistake with my big old forehead. And I can easily extend my left finger to tap the test button while still looking through the camera finder. I like how it works, and I really like the value for the money. I don't like the LR mode. Sure, the extra range is nice on occasion, but using the LR mode lowers the flash sync speed, and it forces you to use, another Plus 3 that's in LR mode. What kind of photographer would want to use this particular Pocket Wizard? Any photographer that wants an affordable, flexible triggering system for a DSLR, a mirrorless, or even a point-and-shoot camera. If you shoot groups or kids with a remote in your hand to fire your camera, this is a step up for you. It's got a 2-stage fire button that lets you press it halfway down to tap your camera awake, and then press it all the way down to release the shutter. It's just like the shutter release on your camera. That's a big plus. What kind of photographer would not benefit from this flash trigger? If you want wireless TTL flash, this is not the one for you. Take a look at the Flex and the Mini from Pocket Wizard, or if you're a Q-Flash user, look at the FreeX Wire for great wireless TTL. Also, long-range photographers who have those lights way away, you're probably better off with the Pocket Wizard Multimax or the Pocket Wizard Plus 2 because of the longer range. Overall, we base our ratings on product performance first, ease of use second, value for the money third, and we give a little thought to some of the more exotic features and functions that most photographers really won't use but look cool. Mix all those up, we give the Pocket Wizard Plus 3 an 8.4 on our 10 scale of all things on the Willow meter.